What's up, guys? kevincage here with another crypto update. Hope everybody's doing well, and let's run through some recent news. But first, start with the Bitcoin price chart. So, in the monthly time frame, just looking at Bitcoin after basically 6 or 7 months of consolidating or just ranging in this area, as we can see right there, this is actually right now at the previous 2021 cycle top. So, compared to the previous cycles, we've yet to see that first major move, the first full monthly candle body going into new all-time highs, like the previous 3 cycles, as we can see here. So, full monthly candle body. Going back to 2017, we had a full monthly candle body, the first major move, and then going back here to 2013, the first full monthly candle body. So it's great to see that Bitcoin is having some price action going up a bit, but we are still in a range. So even if we come up to 70K or a little above, I'm not truly excited with official confirmation for another liquidity cycle until Bitcoin closes its first full monthly candle body over 80,000, I believe. The chart I shared with the exact calculation of the diminishing returns per previous cycles was over 84K. So that's the price level I need to see to go full bull for another liquidity cycle, because that would be the first major move once we get that first large monthly candle body over the previous cycle top, and then we can run significantly higher on average for 200 to 300 days. But we are still in a range, so until we see that, we don't know if we actually come back down to the trend line, because for all we know, we can come up here a little bit or even tag some previous highs and come right back down. And seeing price action come back down to this trend line, sentiment would be low. This would be likely dragged out even further, so we'll see what happens. And back in March, I did a video measuring all of these cycle lengths, looking at halving the top, election to top, bottom to bottom, peak to peak, all types of measurements, and all of those lengths looking at the previous 3 cycles or bull runs. All of these showed 2024 or 2025, even towards the end of 2025. So I've shared repeatedly this year, if we are going to be similar in length from the cycle top up until that first major move, this was our longest cycle, from 2013 up until 2017. So if we were to be similar in length from the 2021 high, we should see that first major move anytime between now and May. So I know this analysis on the monthly time frame might be boring to a lot of people because we're just watching this asset range, but that's what I'm looking at to keep my personal expectations in check. And I'm not making fun of anybody that is bearish here or has bearish concerns of this being a triple top with 1, 2, 3 consolidating and we crash, but as long as we are holding the uptrend with monthly candle bodies over the 8-month EMA, full monthly candle bodies like previous cycles, after the Bitcoin halving, I'm bullish. And even Bitcoin dominance, it's at 59%, just hovering around that level today. This is the highest it's been in a very long time, so this is a setup for another alt season as we await for Bitcoin dominance to actually find its top. And historically, the start of the previous 2 alt seasons for Bitcoin dominance was crashing, but Bitcoin was actually going up, creating higher highs. So Bitcoin was going up, but its dominance was actually going down because there was a flood or new volumes of new capital into alts. Now that confirmation for me is ballpark maybe like that first 10% drop on the monthly time frame. We'll just loosely measure the first large monthly drops that we saw during the previous cycles. So we can see like 8%, and then we can see right there, we did wick higher, but we had like maybe a 14-15% drop. So I'm just saying about 10%. The thing is, this is the highest the momentum has ever been in history for Bitcoin dominance, so I'm not sure if we come up to 70 or even run a little higher than we think. And friendly reminder that you can be bullish or bearish, but you need context on which time frame. So on the monthly time frame for Bitcoin, I am bullish. We're in a macro uptrend for over 10 plus years. But if you zoomed in to the 4-hour time frame when we're in a downtrend, you could be bearish on the 4-hour. And one final thing before we dive into some recent news is looking at the monthly RSI after we get that first major move. So we had a first major move, and first major move. We've yet to see that first major move. Yes, we did poke a little bit above it right there. And just looking at the monthly RSI, we can see right here back in 2017, before the first major move, we poked above 70, came back down, a little bit of a fake out as we were consolidating. Right here, we did the same thing, but we've been consolidating even longer, and the monthly RSI has come down lower. But looking at the last 3 cycles after the first major move, which we haven't seen yet for Bitcoin, it goes right to 90. There are no fake outs, it just runs. So again, I'm not guaranteeing to anybody that this will happen, but these are my thoughts based on the previous cycles I experienced a good chunk of 2017 as well as 2020 and 2021. We need to see that first major move in 2024 or into 2025 to be confident that the momentum is going to run close to 90 like the last 3 cycles. Now the future can be different, but at least historically, Bitcoin leads the way a bit, and there's a lagging effect for assets or altcoins to run a lot harder later. So I just wanted to summarize a few things looking at the Bitcoin cycles and my thoughts. We can see price action specifically after elections here, these black vertical lines historically going up. So that is what I'm looking at on the big picture unless we completely lose the uptrend. We've gone over the Pi Cycle Top Indicator. We've also gone over the Bitcoin Bull Run Index by Colin Talks Crypto. Historically, dark red is aligned with the cycle top in the peak of the momentum or the monthly RSI. So here, and here, we've yet to reach dark red. So as long as we are holding the uptrend, I believe another cycle is coming. And for any bears that think the high back here in March was the cycle top, it's possible, but compared to the previous cycles, I'm taking the chance and waiting for another Bitcoin bull run and another alt season. So basically, as expected, if we get confirmation of another cycle, another bull run, another alt season, sentiment will pick up, people's interest in crypto will pick up again, just like the previous two bull runs. However, if Bitcoin just ranges longer or we come back down to the trend line, dumping alts again, and this is just dragged out, sentiment will be low, crypto will be a scam. So I'm basically looking at the price charts on a daily basis. I know it's been pretty boring, but hoping to get that first major move sooner than later. If we do come down and still hold the uptrend, I'm not worried. I would get a little worried if we did see that first full monthly candle body below the 8-month EMA, and that level today is around 61,549. So we have seen wicks below this level before, but I do not want to see a full monthly candle body below that EMA. So let me explain this a little better, then we're going to dive into recent news. So we have seen flash wicks before, so seeing flash wicks in either direction before a bunch of volatility wouldn't surprise me, like we've seen this deep wick right there. But notice the monthly candle body was still holding above the 8-month EMA. What would concern me in terms of our trend actually losing strength is if we saw a full rectangle or a monthly candle body completely below the 8-month EMA. So if we saw a full monthly candle body, that would definitely look like the uptrend is getting weaker, but we're still holding the uptrend as long as we're holding above this level. So I'm aware that looking at the first major move or trying to estimate the timing of it is silly in the most volatile asset class in the world. I am doing cyclical analysis, just looking at historical data and comparing those numbers for my own personal expectations. The future can be different, but this is what I'm looking for per the last 3 cycles. That's a big reason why I'm not on the 4-hour price chart right now. I am trying to look on the big macro structures of the monthly and the weekly time frame. So, I don't know about timing of this, I've shared my guesses, but I know my levels for official confirmation for another cycle, as well as invalidation of losing the uptrend. Alright, let's dive into some recent news. We have Good Morning Crypto sharing a clip of Brad Garlinghouse speaking on Thinking Crypto's YouTube channel with Tony. I'm just going to play maybe 10 or 20 seconds.
That's going to bring more capital into the XRP ecosystem, more capital into crypto. I think we've seen $19 billion come into the Bitcoin ETF. You know, that's good. And I think there will be more in the future.
All right, so just a little commentary from the Ripple CEO on the XRP ETFs coming, discussing the Canary Trust, the Canary ETF, along with the Grayscale Fund. And in that clip, Brad Garlinghouse says $19 billion has come into the Bitcoin ETF. So I'm not sure if he was referring to a single issuer. I'll have to watch that full video. But we can see the spot Bitcoin ETF AUM today is over $60 billion. And we know there's been some big predictions for Bitcoin ETFs. There will be bigger ones for Ethereum and other assets in the future. But we can see here back in March, we could see $220 billion of inflows in the next 3 years from JMP Securities. There's also a prediction from JP Morgan. Let me find it. It says right here, Wall Street giant JP Morgan estimated $62 billion of Bitcoin ETF inflows in the next 2 or 3 years. And this is in March when the Bitcoin SPY ETF was really just kicking off. So I guess I just need to do my research to better understand their definition of inflows, because I'm looking at AUM here and we're already over 60 billion. And looking at gold and other risk-on assets, we know gold is skyrocketed and is pushed into new all-time high prices. And just thinking about market cap, I know this is different than AUM and a Bitcoin spot ETF. The market cap for gold is what, like $7 to $8 trillion. With some other estimates, it's a lot higher. I think it's just based on how they calculate it. But if we're talking about 5 trillion, 7 trillion, 10 trillion, all of those numbers are larger than the entire crypto asset class as a whole. And meanwhile, Bitcoin is 1.3 trillion in market cap. This is the only asset in the crypto space that has surpassed a $1 trillion market cap thus far. And just thinking about the future generations, as they're growing up, they're going to be moving the markets in the future. They're already very accustomed to the concepts of digitization and NFTs and buying in-game items, and digital value is the same concept. And right now, the world is changing in a variety of industries, such as the real estate market, one of the biggest, because there's that huge thing going on with the major legal settlement involving the National Association of Realtors. And I was talking to my buddy yesterday that's in real estate, just talking about, lowering these commission rates or these fees by 25 to 50%, and that completely changes the game. And I think people are waking up to all of these fees that are attached to almost everything in a variety of industries. And the thing about blockchain, if it's set up correctly, it's regulated correctly, it can lower fees and completely disintermediate the system, if that's a word, disintermediation, getting rid of the middlemen. And that's the potential that blockchain can bring, bringing better transparency, auditability, security, trust, and then even in tandem with AI, if it's done correctly, can optimize all of this. As long as we don't move into a world that's like the movie iRobot, so let's hope that doesn't happen. And I know we ask these same questions, well, if blockchain is so great, it's even better than what cloud did, and cloud is a $5 trillion industry, and the promise of cutting costs along with even revenue generation is so great, why haven't banks, why haven't other industries adopted it? First off, technological shifts take time, just like we saw for cloud, like we saw for Linux, like we saw for even other things like dropshipping and Amazon FBA and e-commerce and social media. But the second point is that all of the biggest banks, the traditional financial sector, even other industries make money by how inefficient everything is today because of middlemen. So these big institutions understand that blockchain is the next step in its evolution, but they're trying to figure out how can we build something and still make money. And just thinking about the banking system with fractionalized reserve banking, they don't have the money. If we all went to our banks and tried to withdraw our money, we wouldn't be able to get it. It would actually only be able to be given to a fraction of people. That's a scam. They take the bulk of our money to make more money, and they give us a fraction of a percent in yield per year as a thank you, which is a joke. Debasing our currency, leading to inflation, and lowering our purchasing power every single year. So yeah, every investor does what works for them. Sometimes they're conservative with money market accounts, some prefer bonds or stocks or index funds, but I have a big chunk of change in crypto because I'd rather take the risk here. I could rant about this for hours, and because I'm talking about this video will probably be shadow banned, but I don't really care. Just thinking about the American colonists hundreds of years ago, thinking about their taxes at the time. There was like a 3 to 5% tax on imported goods. There was the Stamp Act. There was the Tea Act. We're talking very small in terms of taxation compared to taxes in the United States today, where the federal tax rate or the federal income tax is 10% to 37%. We have state income taxes for some states. We have a sales tax. We have a property tax. We have payroll taxes. It's insane. And going back to colonists back then, we're talking maybe 1 or 2% of their income on imports and specific goods, compared to today, where we're talking 25 to 30%, even more. So yes, the world needs a massive revolution. Alright, a few more things. We have shared by Wrath Economin, we have Anodyne mentioning Ripple XRP in this PitchBook report, Currency Crossroads, a cross-border payments deep dive, notes, banks finally beginning to innovate, citing Santander's OnePayFX. So we can see right here, Ripple connects banks and payment providers on its decentralized global network RippleNet and uses its XRP cryptocurrency as a bridge currency for quicker transactions. We can see Stellar mentioned as well. And just referring back to traditional finance and different partnerships and integrations, we know this news from a while back with MasterCard with their CBDC partner program, discussing this with different countries. We know that this also lists Ripple right there as part of the partners. And then recently we did a video going over this. Stellar joins the MasterCard crypto credential ecosystem. We also have SWI officially listed on iTrustCapital for crypto IRAs. I have a Roth IRA here. This is linked in the video description for anybody interested in tax-free gains. So SWI is one of the more recent new Layer 1 projects that is getting a decent amount of adoption and excitement. We can see the price right there. So forming multiple cups and essentially reached a new all-time price, at least on the weekly time frame, not considering this a liquidity wick. So it wouldn't surprise me to see SWI do fairly well during a bull run. Its market cap today is almost $6 billion at $5.8 billion. So at the time when Solana launched, Solana's market cap was under $100 million. So when we compare these charts, a lot of people are looking for the next Solana, the next 100x or next 500xer. SWI's definitely promising, but its market cap is bigger. Can it reach with success 20 billion, 50 billion in market cap or higher? Yes, it's possible, but I think there's going to be a variety of other assets that could be the next Solana. Maybe not in terms of a layer 1 network, but in terms of assets with similar structures on their chart and being microcaps today, if and when we get another bull run with another alt season. Some have higher market caps and some have lower market caps. Because there's not regulatory clarity on a global basis for a variety of assets, what really moves markets right now is community. We have right here, shared by Hedera a while back, real world assets unwind in Singapore 2024. So I watched this full session. We have HBAR Foundation. We also have this group, Plume Network. So PlumeNetwork.xyz, built for adoption of real-world assets, is the premier real-world asset chain built for crypto natives. Looking at their ecosystem, I would love to see Hedera as a chain listed, but I haven't seen them yet. We also get this news from the Hashgraph Association, proud to have supported the DFSA courts in launching their new suite of digital public services at GitX, if that's how you pronounce it, Global, featuring groundbreaking solutions powered by Hedera. So the DFSA in Dubai, which is massive in the UAE, launches Tajori, the global digital vault built on Hedera. So right here, allowing individuals to securely manage and distribute assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Matic, we have USDC, USDT, and HBAR via a non-custodial wallet. Updates will support NFT standards and Hedera's token service. So we have right here this notary service, the first of its kind in the UAE, leverages Hedera's DLT to notarize documents with cryptographic security and timestamps, ensuring complete trust and transparency. So this is happening in the MENA region along with ongoing projects in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Morocco, and beyond. So this Tajori will securely hold all important documents and multimedia files. It's a digital repository to safekeep your entire life admin. So the new digital home for your legacy will enable the upload and secure storing of documents ranging from insurance contracts, title deeds, wills, and financial certificates to images and multimedia files. So a very cool use case right with Hedera. We know in 2023, XRP got approval from the DFSA. And even this month, Ripple the company receives in-principle approval from the Dubai Financial Services Authority. So it'd be really cool to see something similar for Hedera and HBAR in the future. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button and sharing your thoughts down below. As always, you can find all links, including resources for charting, trading bots, platforms, wallets, portfolio trackers, and exclusive discounts in my link tree at the top of the video description. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.